It's like the news, but for nerds. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Nerd Vengers, what is up? It is Josh, and this is your nerdy news rundown for Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. We've got a couple of juicy stories today, small updates around the Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming from the man himself, Ewan McGregor, and then a massive story all about Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe, and the future of Sony and Marvel's relationship with Spider-Man moving forward. It's going to get wild, but first, let's talk about the updates around the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, again, coming from the mouth of Ewan McGregor himself. This was a part of a big piece in the Hollywood Reporter. He was talking about the difficulties of filming during the Rona, but there's also a lot in here just in general about getting a do-over at Star Wars. The entire piece begins with talking about his experience getting the vaccine. He talks about like very intense sword fighting sessions, saying here that they, for months, had been doing these monster 2.5-hour sessions of sword fighting and hand-to-hand stuff. But he was talking about how he had to not do that the week that he got his vaccine, as it did really do a number on him. He goes on to talk about disappointment with the initial reception of the prequels, saying it was really hard, that they didn't get well received. It was quite difficult. They were universally not much liked. He goes on to talk about The Mandalorian, being very excited about The Mandalorian and the future of Star Wars, saying, "I'm really excited about it," he said with glee. "Maybe more so than the first ones because I'm older. I just turned 50 and I'm just in a much better place." So again, not major updates about Obi-Wan, but the one thing that's got a lot of people talking is these massive 2.5-hour sessions with him fighting, sword fighting and doing hand-to-hand, implying that we're going to get a lot of action out of the Kenobi series. I mean, they wouldn't be making him do all this training for nothing. I would assume we're going to get a crazy amount of lightsaber action and perhaps even a Vader fight 2.0. I know a lot of fans are getting triggered at the possibility of Obi-Wan and Vader facing off in the Kenobi series. I'm not one of those guys. I say do it, go for it. I'm not that married to canon that I don't want to see a dope fight like that, especially a modern version of that. But it's also interesting that he talks about the reception of the prequels being negative and sort of implies this do-over thing and getting more excited about doing it now even than he was back then. And something I've always thought about with the prequel actors was how difficult it must have been to soldier forward and make the second and third film after the negative reception of the first one. Now, the prequels have had sort of this new golden era, and I think a lot of this has to do with the memes. Like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but the meme culture around the prequels has really just kind of elevated the experience of watching them for a lot of different people, and there were a lot of younger fans that really appreciated them at the time that are now older and just speaking more to their connections with the prequels. So the prequels nowadays, definitely not as hated as they were in the past. I hope Ewan McGregor knows that, and if not, one of his close Star Wars buddies should let him know that. Like, man, people love Obi-Wan and Anakin from the prequels, and we're all super excited for this show. So just cool updates around that. What do you guys make of this? You think we're going to get a lot of action? And what do you think of the comments about him being more excited now than ever, and this sort of implied do-over for the prequels? Let us know in the comments section below. And now let's talk about the news that has me absolutely jazzed. This all has to do with an update about Norman Osborn and Willem Dafoe in Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man No Way Home. This is coming as an exclusive from the Hashtag Show, and it's very interesting as it lines up with some things that I have been hearing and seeing behind the scenes, and I'll get into that in just a second. So it reads here in the article, Marvel Studios' plan was to bring in Willem Dafoe as the primary villain for Spider-Man No Way Home, but I can exclusively share that because of this most recent deal, there now exists a separate version of Norman Osborn in the MCU. Peter will begin to research his Earth's version of Norman Osborn after fighting with Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, but there's a twist. He's seemingly not an awful guy. He has political aspirations, makes charitable donations, and even supports the Avengers. They're playing off the idea that it's a different Earth and no villain or hero is guaranteed to be on the same path. Yes, that means a different MCU Norman Osborn. What Marvel has wanted to do is explore more, and without putting him in the Goblin outfit, start to peel back the layers of his villainy. This will take place over the next 3 to 5 years at Marvel and begin to set him up as a major villain for both Spider-Man and the Avengers going forward. This wasn't something Marvel had finalized until this last week, so we have no concrete details on which projects he'll appear in, although there's still time for No Way Home cameo or post-credits scene. The fourth Holland Spider-Man film is mentioned in the leaked document I read, so that is a safe bet, and possibly Disney Plus series as well, as the document I viewed mentioned that he could appear in both movies and Disney Plus series. Marvel has offered the role to an actor who has not accepted the role yet. The actor is a prominent New Yorker who has a history with Marvel Studios. When or if the deal is finalized, we'll share more. We've known that Spider-Man No Way Home will feature multiverse in a meaningful way, but now that Marvel and Sony have signed a new agreement, there's going to be some big ramifications for the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward, and we will get to see Marvel explore a different dimension, pun intended, for some of our favorite heroes and villains. Okay, really freaking crazy. What a whopper of a story there, confirming many different things that we have been hearing about, that I've been seeing from different people behind the scenes. And yeah, Willem Dafoe most definitely in the movie. I actually just got to see actual things that more or less confirm that he is in the film just today, along with some other cool stuff that we've been kind of looking at behind the scenes. But I find this very interesting because they're implying that because of the new Sony Marvel deal, things have now changed. And to me, in general, Marvel has felt very weird recently because we just know there's been a lot of changes and things happening behind the scenes. I have been interested in what exactly was going on with Marvel and Sony. And as they're sort of figuring out this big negotiation, they're also producing a series of films. Now, Feige's pretty good at this. He's pretty good at being fluid with different things and being able to put other pieces into play in a preconceived story if he has to. He has wanted Norman Osborn to play in the MCU for a long, long time. And it implies in this article from the Hashtag Show that Willem Dafoe was going to potentially come back and be that Norman Osborn moving forward. But now they're going to do a separate one, an MCU Norman Osborn that they're going to set up as a completely different character. And it appears they are talking to a particular New York actor that has a history with Marvel Studios. Pretty interesting. Many more speculative trips to Speculation Town on that one to come. But for now, the main story here is that we will indeed be getting Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn as a major part of Spider-Man No Way Home. And now, due to changes contractually between Sony and Marvel, it is being reported that we're going to get a separate MCU Norman Osborn who will be very different than the one we met in the Sam Raimi universe. And there's even a big actor being approached for the role right now. For me, this is pretty exciting stuff. It sets up all sorts of crazy possibilities. I would love Storm and Norman to come in prominently into the MCU, push the Thunderbolts forward. Is this perhaps why some of the Thunderbolt elements have been, sort of, let's just call it what it is, weak sauce as of late? Is this why Marvel has been pulling things and holding back because they're waiting for big contractual things before they move forward completely with these different stories? Who knows exactly, but that is the news, ladies and gentlemen. An MCU Norman Osborn. What do you think of that? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's going to do it for your Nerdy News Rundown today. We're definitely going to be talking about this probably all week over on the live streaming channel. So make sure you check out the live streaming channel and come on by with your own thoughts and questions about what is going on. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.